the Vice Chancellor. At this juncture, permit me to read through the citation of Professor Abiodun Akeem Oladiti. Professor Abiodun Akeem Oladiti is a distinguished academic and scholar in the field of social and cultural history. He is a professor in the Department of History, Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences at LAUTECH University of Technology, LAUTECH, Ogumosho. He earned his Bachelor of Arts, Masters of Arts, and Doctor of Philosophy in Business History and African History from the prestigious University of Rome. Throughout his academic career, Professor Oladiti has demonstrated an unwavering commitment to teaching and research. He has served in various important administrative and academic capacities within LAUTECH. Notably, he was the acting head of the Department of General Studies from 2015 to 2017. He is also the author of the book Exploring the Historical Impact of Colonialism on Indigenous Religious Rights in Nigeria. In addition to his publications, Professor Oladiti has presented numerous academic papers at both international conferences, gaining recognition for his scholarly insights and methodological rigor. The purpose of this lecture is to share some of my reflections on the disciplines of history and to explore how historians craft and represent their ideas, ultimately contributing to knowledge and the society at large. It is with great pleasure that I inform this esteemed audience that today's lecture marks the second from the Department of History. Numerologically, the number 6 holds deep significance, representing universal human needs that transcend time, place, and culture. This fundamental aspect of human existence include the struggle for survival, the need for social organization, the desire for stability and protection, the pursuit of knowledge and learning, and the urge for self-expression. And the search for religious identity and spiritual fulfillment. My excitement in delivering today's lecture is further amplified by the realization that I am upholding the esteemed tradition of my predecessors, contributing to the ongoing legacy of historical scholarship and discourse. History is the collective memory of human experiences, shaping our understanding of who we are. If we forget or ignore it, we lose the vital part of our humanity. Without history, we are left in a state of collective amnesia, struggling to define our identity. It is through the recorded events that we inherit the emotions, values, and ideals that give life meaning. History provides us with a sense of purpose, a foundation for progress, and a reason to strive for a better future. Historical events have created all the basic groupings, countries, religions, classes, and all loyalties that attach to this. This implies that the discipline of history is an essential memory of experience shared by human groups that should be remembered or ignored. Without the knowledge of the past, little will be known about the achievements of people in the annals of human ingenuity. It is the knowledge generated through the study of history that has generated all the ideas of scientific breakthroughs in the field of medicine, computer science, engineering, pharmacy, and telecommunications. All these have assisted in making life meaningful and a wonderful place to live. To fully grasp the essence of this lecture, it is essential to understand its foundation in historical analysis and interpretation. The focus is on how human society interacts based on shared beliefs, traditions, languages, customary practices, and moral codes, particularly among diverse ethnic groups and social structures. It explored how historical conflicts, especially those rooted in cultural and religious differences, have been understood and interpreted over time. The phrase clash of civilization gained prominence through Samuel Huntington, who argued that the post-Cold War conflicts are primarily driven by cultural and religious identities, rather than ideological division. This perspective highlights tensions and conflicts that arise when people of different religions come to contact with foreign religious beliefs and educational systems. In this lecture, the concept is operationalized. The concept of clash of civilization is operationalized to examine the traditions, values, and customs of the Nigerian people and their encounters with dominant foreign influences of Western and Islamic education in particular, and how it has imposed its cultural systems and values in the Nigerian society. The study also further explores how certain Nigerian ethnic groups have resisted these foreign ideological influences and examines how cultural communities have responded to the movement, advocating change, modernization, and globalization. Lastly, the lecture delves into the role of historians in shaping narratives and practicing historians as both as a discipline and as a vocation. It underscores that when civilizations clash, the conflict is deeply intertwined with culture, encompassing ways of life, religion, moral codes, and belief systems and modernity, which includes education and social transformation. The term clash of civilization, as proposed by Samuel Huntington in his seminal work, he used the concept to explain global conflict in the post-Cold War era up to 1991 to present. This theory suggests that ideological and cultural civilizational identities drive global conflict. During the Cold War, geopolitical tensions primarily revolved around the rivalry between the Soviet Union along with its allies as well as the United States. This period is a period of intense ideological struggle, officially ended with the dissolution of Union of Soviet Socialist Republic on December 26, 1991. Now, the Cold War period was a period commonly described as a period of clash of civilization because it was a period that brought about the Cold War. That's the Cold War is a period that brought about differences in ideological differences. The US preaches capitalism while the Russian people, that's the Union of Soviet Socialist Republic, are of the opinion that socialism is the best system of government and social system. So as a result, there were clash of civilization in this regard. The concept of clash of civilization is defined to encompass the practices, values, traditions, and customs of different societal groups. It explores our encounters with foreign religions and education, including Islam, Christianity, and Islamic education. Western education and modernity have shaped and influenced this culture, often leading to tensions, resistance, and transformation. Throughout human history, civilization has provided mankind with the broadest identification of people with their heritage. The idea of civilization was developed in the 18th century by French thinkers as the opposite concept of barbarism. Civilized society differed from primitive society because it was settled, urban, and illiterate. To be civilized was good, but to be uncivilized was bad. Therefore, the influence from the concept of civilization provides a standard by which we assess societies on whether they are good or bad. In the 19th century, Eurocentric scholars developed criteria to adjudge civilized and uncivilized societies. These criteria include technology, knowledge, morality, values, intellectual, artistic tradition, urbanization, and religion. In other words, what constitutes the highest cultural grouping of people and the broadest level of cultural identity, which distinguishes humans from other species of living organisms like plants. Civilization is defined as elements of language, history, religion, customs, institutions, and self-identification. Civilization in the history of people have no clear-cut boundaries with precise beginnings and endings. People redefine their identities by the composition and space and shapes of civilization and change over time. The cultures of people in the world interact and overlap with one another. The extent to which culture civilization resemble or differ from each other varies considerably. For the purpose of this lecture, the most significant contact between the domineering foreign religions from one civilization to another will be interrogated. The lecture argues that Nigerian ethnic communities were not passive recipients of Islam and Christianity. Rather, they have mounted persistent social, political, and cultural resistance to defend their indigenous beliefs and autonomy. The encounter between Islam, Christianity, as well as Islamic education among the Yoruba people has brought intense tensions among the two groups. The encounters and interactions of the foreign religions of Islam with the Hausa people had brought resistance against the belief system. For example, the Christian Missionary Society viewed the British concept of northern Nigeria as a divinely ordained event that would allow the gospel to spread the light of Christian civilization to what they saw as a morally and culturally backward region of the globe. The rulers of the region in the early years of the 19th century opposed missionary activity by persecuting, expelling, and killing missionaries at their converts. Accordingly, missionaries worked in partnership with the conquerors, providing intelligence report to the British forces and helping to complete the process of subjugation. Unfortunately, the British rule did not usher in unrestricted access to the Christian missions in northern Nigeria. In fact, the years that followed were marked by significant tensions and open conflict between missionaries, colonial officials, and indigenous rulers. Similarly, in the Yoruba town, oppression by imposing a blanket ban on the day-long Oro festival across Ijebuland. When some communities defied the order and attempted to hold festivities, they faced severe penalties, including heavy fines and imprisonment. The crackdown intensified in 1907 when colonial authorities issued an outright prohibition on drumming, a central element of indigenous religious practice in Ijebu society. This effectively rendered the tradition unsustainable. The introduction of foreign religions, particularly Christianity, profoundly shaped the Yoruba understanding of education, marriage, and social behavior. Christian missionaries arrived with a new framework for religious doctrine, demanding converts to adopt an entirely different moral code and social organization. They dismissed indigenous beliefs as inferior, labeling them as fetishism, idolatry, or juju. Missionaries operated under the conviction that only the path of civilization for the Igbo people was the complete rejection of traditional rites, including the veneration of deities and spiritual ancestral spirits. Consequently, the Igbo individuals seeking education or healthcare from Christian missions were compelled not only to convert but also to actively dismantle their own cultural and spiritual traditions. This requirement severe ties with indigenous social structures and worldviews, effectively eroding communal identity beyond cultural transformation. The missionary agenda stripped the Igbo of their right to self-determination. As Local argues, Christianity dominance systematically undermines the Igbo's freedom to practice their religion and preserve their belief system, leaving a lasting legacy of religious and cultural displacement. Furthermore, the influence of foreign religions also led to the foundation of new social practices that reshaped the Yoruba understanding of education, marriage, and the justice system. For example, the Christian missionaries introduced the concept of white wedding, celebrated in the church. Among the indigenous people, respect for the traditional marriage system way, as Western educated elites in Yoruba and Igbo society embraced the European practice as the right way of getting married, which also endorsed by marriage registry. Meanwhile, the influence of Christianity was further criminalized the social behaviors of the native people by giving their child out in marriage based on child disposal, levirate marriage, and marriage by abduction. which were common practices before the influence and domination of foreign ideology. Civilization remained a subject of debate among historians, yet there is no consensus on its fundamental characteristics. Civilization is typically understood as an advanced culture marked by the development of urban centers and the capacity to support specialized goals to meet the economic, social, political, and religious demands of large populations. Key indicators of civilization include the system of writing, which emerged as a necessity to maintain records, monumental architecture, representing the transition from simple structure to sophisticated construction, and representative of art that serve not merely as liberating functions, but also a reflection of the people's identity and their daily activities. These elements are widely regarded as foundational to the emergence of human civilization. The intersection of culture and modernity holds profound significance for societal progress, as these forces collectively shape identity, values, and social cohesion, while simultaneously dividing communities through conflicting beliefs. On one hand, they offer individuals a sense of belonging, moral guidance, and communal stability. On the other hand, they have historically fueled violent clashes and discrimination between groups. Religious expression is inherently ritualistic, manifesting in standardized acts of devotion like prayer, worship, or purification. Right. These practices varying complexities across faiths serve as a symbolic bridge between human and divine. Crucially, religion does not operate in isolation. It intertwines with cultural frameworks, reflecting and shaping societal norms. Thus, the study of the dynamics remains essential in understanding both the unifying and the divisive potentials of belief systems in an increasingly modernized world. Culture forms the fundamental foundation of human existence. While religion serves as a dynamic force that shapes and responds to societal transformation, the historical introduction of Islam and Christianity to Africa exemplifies the dual role, while the prime values of civilization. These religions also function as instruments of conquest. Christianity in particular emerged not only as a spiritual movement, but also as a potential catalyst for economic upheaval. Yet, the religion's influence remains paradoxical. It can empower communities while simultaneously being wielded as a tool of oppression and ideological control, diverting attention from pressing socio-economic and political challenges. In this lecture, culture represents the comprehensive way of life of people, encompassing systems of representation and communication that maintain a relative independence from economic and political spheres. As gets conceptualized, culture constitutes the collective inheritance of knowledge, moral beliefs, arts, customs, and technologies that have been transmitted across generations. This complex whole manifests in both tangible and intangible dimensions. The tangible aspect comprises of valuable material creations, such as technological artifacts, industrial products, and crafted items like pottery, tools, and domestic implements. These physical manifestations represent the society's practical adaptation of its environment. Conversely, the intangible dimension include the implicit cognitive elements such as language systems, philosophical framework, ethical codes, motivational structures, and value orientation. These concrete and abstract components from an integrated behavioral matrix that defines a society's distinctive character. Ultimately, culture embodies the totality of human creativity and social organization, a dynamic system of conduct that both reflects the shapes of collective identity. Its material and non-material elements work in concert to satisfy human needs while perpetuating the unique worldview of each society. This comprehensive understanding underscores the role of culture as the bedrock of civilizational development and the lens through which communities interpret their lives. Modernity in African context has been closely tied to the introduction of formal educational system through Islam and Christianity, as well as through an expanded trade network and increased mobility since the 19th century. These foreign religions introduced new educational paradigms that serve as catalysts for widespread conversion, gradually displacing indigenous belief systems. The Western style schooling promoted and created new socio-economic opportunities by enabling converts to access wage employment as clerks, administrative officers, as well as civil servants. This effectively shifted from traditional occupational structures like farming to other types of occupation like civil service. According to JDYP, in the Yoruba context, modernity represents a comprehensive transformation marked by the decline of traditional festivals and the adoption of new norms through Christian and Islamic influence. This shift brought measurable improvements in public health through Western medicine, literacy through formal education, and expanded horizons through increased travel opportunities and modern infrastructural development include piping water, electrical grids, road network, as well as mass communication technology like radio, television, and the new media, the internet. The modernizing process also introduced Western legal system through colonial education, along improved healthcare that significantly reduced infant mortality and waterborne diseases. This complex interplay between culture, religion, and modernity reflects both the benefits and tensions of African encounter with European as well as the Arab-Islamic civilization. While bringing developmental advances, it also involved the imposition of foreign values systems and manipulation of indigenous cultural elements, creating an ongoing dialectic between traditional practices and imported modernity. The historical trajectory underscores how modernity in Africa has been simultaneously transformative and disruptive, offering new opportunities while challenging established cultural framework. The enduring legacy of this encounter continues to shape contemporary African society as they negotiate their place in an increasingly globalized world. The connection between religion and modernity in Nigeria was probably shaped by the introduction of Western and Islamic educational systems, which serve as vehicles of both literacy and economic transformation. Prior to this, foreign educational influences affected traditional education by emphasizing moral values such as respect for elders, community hygiene, communal upbringing of children, and agricultural skills, which are primary forms of education in the traditional society. But with the influence of foreign education or foreign religion, it brought about new systems that created a new system of education that was being practiced through Islamic and Christian Western education. Many families initially resisted formal schooling as it meant losing a crucial farm labor and placing children under the authority of schoolmasters. Missionaries and Islamic clerics overcame this resistance by offering incentives such as gifts, clothes, and promises of social mobility, which significantly contributed to mass conversions of Christianity in many Nigerian communities. Educational institutions became strategic tools for religious socialization, providing clergy with captives for audience for Christian and Islamic indoctrination. Both Western and Islamic systems of education promoted literacy as an essential tool for proper religious practice, whether it's studying the Bible or the Quran. Over time, Nigerian families came to value this foreign educational system, believing that they will bring tangible benefits such as improved communication, better healthcare, and opportunities in cash crop production. All these are here to improve the pathways of the standard of living of people in Nigeria. Christian and Islamic missions also introduced social welfare reality of their activities by establishing schools, hospitals, and rehabilitation centers for marginalized groups like lepers. Islamic organizations, on the other hand, also play a significant role in educational development by mirroring the efforts of the Christian missions. This dual focus on spiritual and material advancement helps to solidify the link between religion, modernity, and social progress in colonial Nigeria. Ultimately, the spread of formal education under religious auspices not only transformed literacy rates, but also reshaped cultural values, economic aspirations, and community structures across regions. Vice Chancellor, sir. Belief systems are integral components of human culture, shaping values, behaviors, and societal structures. This system encompasses religious, philosophical, and ideological frameworks that guide individual and collective understanding of the existence of morality and the universe. Across diverse cultures, belief systems provide meaning and purpose to life, offering answers to fundamental questions about creation of existence and human condition. As such, they often serve as both as a source of personal identity and mechanism for social cohesion, binding individuals together in a shared understanding of human world. Belief systems, whether religious, philosophical, or ideological, are not static. They evolve over time, influenced by historical events, cultural exchanges, and societal changes. The interaction between different belief systems can lead to syncretism, where elements of various traditions blend to create a new cultural phenomenon. However, clashes between different belief systems can also result in conflict and struggle, revealing the complexities of human interaction and ultimately lead to the understanding of belief systems as essential for grasping the diversity of human culture as they profoundly shape the way individuals and societies navigate their realities and forge their identities in the ever-changing world. The Vice Chancellor, sir. The tension between civilization paradigms emerges when religious belief, cultural traditions, and modern values came into contact, sparking profound social, political, and philosophical debates about Nigeria's diverse religious landscape. As teaching observed, the interplay between indigenous African religions, Christianity, and Islam has significantly shaped Nigeria's social fabric and political dynamics. These clashes manifest in various forms, from competing worldviews to contradictory practices that challenge societal norms. Religious doctrine often collides with long-standing cultural traditions, creating friction within communities, while religion provides spiritual guidance and identity. Culture embodies and evolved practices of rituals and values of the people. The introduction of Islam to Nigeria, for instance, brought comprehensive value system that permeated all aspects of life, from law and economics to personal conduct and ideal. Unlike Western paradigms that separate secular and the sacred domains, Islam integrates both spheres by governing public as well as private life. For example, Islam supported the idea of cousin marriage. It is allowed, but the Yoruba people say no, not in their lifetime, that they will see children of the same parents marry one another. So this is a clash of points of civilization. And that is one way in which the Yoruba people resisted the culture of foreign religion of Islam in their society. A significant historical flashpoint emerged with the competition of Islamic and Western education systems. Muslim communities in both northern and southern Nigeria initially resisted Western education introduced by Christian missionaries in the 19th century, fearing it would undermine Islamic pedagogical traditions and reduce the adherence of Muslim practices. Islamic education served as the backbone of Muslim society, particularly in the north, by producing scholars, judges, and leaders who upheld Islamic ideals. Among the Yoruba, while it did not create an administrative class, it facilitated Islamic expansion by converting influential figures, warriors, are seen in towns like Hussein and Ekwe, which became Islamic strongholds in the mid-19th century. Conversely, Western education arrived alongside Christian missionary efforts in the 19th century and continued into the colonial era. However, its adoption faced fierce resistance in northern Nigeria, where the Hausa viewed the missionary activities as cultural imperialism. Attempts to establish Christian missions and Western schools in the north achieved limited success due to the opposition. This educational system became process for broader civilizational conflict, with each representing distinct values and visions for the society. While Islamic education reinforced religious and cultural continuity, Western education became a conduit for modernization and to some, cultural disruption. This historical divide continued to influence Nigeria's geopolitical landscape by reflecting on the enduring tension between tradition and modernity in a pluralistic society. Under British colonial rule, government deliberately restricted missionary activities in northern Nigeria, particularly among the Hausa communities, fearing the destructive potential of Western education and Christian doctrine. This policy, enthusiastically embraced by local emirs, effectively banned Christian evangelism in Muslim strongholds, confining missionary work to non-Muslim areas like Jeba and Lokoja. This institutionalized segregation entrenched Islam's dominance in the north, while creating a religiously divided educational system. What time is life? The vast conversions of Nigerians to Islam stem from the multiple factors of both religions presented themselves as comprehensive systems offering solutions to ethnic problems. While demonstrating doctrinal confidence, however, material incentives often motivated conversion, with many converts viewing the Bible and Quran as magical talismans rather than spiritual tests. This perception reached dangerous extremes in northern Muslim communities, where alleged desecrations of the Quran sparked violent riots. The absence of written scriptures in indigenous religions created a critical disadvantage against the book of religion, while the native belief system maintained a substantial oral traditions. They lacked the tangible and codified authority of the Bible or Quran, making them vulnerable to marginalization. This textual disparity has facilitated the decline of traditional practices under pressure with monotheistic faith. Islamic influence radically altered Yoruba artistic spiritual traditions. Muslim preachers condemned the representational art of Central to Yoruba religion, particularly wood and stone carvings of Orisha deities. In cities like Ibadan, Zealot describes sacred sculptures including Erebeji, twin figures, and representations of Shango, Oya, and their Orishas, replacing them with non-figurative Islamic designs of Arabic calligraphy. This iconoclasm devastated centuries of old artistic culture among the Yoruba people. The relationship between modernity and traditional culture presents a complex web of tensions and transformations. As societies evolve, the forces of modernity, with their emphasis on rationality, scientific progress, and individualism, increasingly collide with long-standing cultural and religious traditions that prioritize communal values and spiritual continuity. This dynamic interplay has reshaped everything from economic system to human rights framework, creating both opportunities and challenges to communities worldwide. One of modernity's profound impacts has been the gradual erosion of traditional ways of life. Rapid urbanization and globalization have promoted many individuals to abandon ancestral practices in favor of contemporary lifestyle, leading to a troubling disconnect from cultural roots and potential loss of indigenous knowledge systems. This shift manifests in various domains, from clothing to language to ritual practices and social structures, often sparking conflict between modern individualism and traditional collectivism. The combination of culture and religion represents another consequence of modernity. In today's globalized world, marketplace, spiritual traditions and cultural traditions are increasingly packaged as consumer products. The trend is particularly evident in the rise of Pentecostal movements that market salvation and prosperity doctrines, sometimes at the expense of authentic spiritual experience. Such development risks reducing profound cultural and religious traditions to mere commodities, stripping them of their deeper meaning. Digital technologies have further complicated this landscape, while social media and electronic broadcasting provided unprecedented platforms for cultural exchange. They also facilitate the homogenization of diverse traditions and the spread of extremist ideologies. Nevertheless, many communities are demonstrating remarkable adaptability, crafting innovative synthesis of tradition and modernity. Some have developed hybrid forms of cultural expression that honor ancestral wisdom while embracing contemporary values. Others leverage digital platforms to preserve the data knowledge system and foster interfaith dialogue. The lecture titled Clash of Civilization, Culture, Religion, and Modernity examines the complex interaction between these forces in Nigeria, revealing both tensions and harmonies in the country's socio-religious landscape. Foreign religions, such as Christianity and Islam, have played a pivotal role in reshaping Nigeria's cultural and spiritual identity, often through educational systems designed to supplant indigenous belief systems. When Western and Islamic schooling, introduced by missionaries and Muslim clerics, propagated doctrines that framed African traditional religions as inferior, thereby marginalizing native spiritual practices. This ideological imposition has had profound consequences, unlike Nigerian indigenous religions, which historically emphasize tolerance, pluralism, and coexistence. The evangelizing nature of Christianity and Islam has at times quelled violent interreligious conflict among ethnic groups. Indigenous African spirituality, which never sought convert through proselytization, stand in stark contrast to the hegemonic tendencies of this foreign religion. Chancellor, sir, the lecture challenges the Occidentalist and Orientalist notion that civilization was brought to Nigeria solely through internal religious influence. Instead, it posits that civilization is a universal human heritage. No single culture or religion can claim exclusive right to modernizing another. Modernity and civilization are distinct, evolving phenomena that manifest differently across society. For the arguments of indigenous African religions, Christianity and Islam are not inherently more modern. Rather, their introduction represents a cultural encounter marked by both resistance and adaptation. Nigeria's religious history is thus one of the dynamic exchange, the engagement between foreign and native belief. Native belief system has never been passive, and rather a contested process of negotiation. This ongoing dialogue has shaped the country's religious diversity, demonstrating that modernization does not necessitate the erasure of tradition. Instead, Nigeria's experience reveals how societies navigate competing worldviews, blending old and new in ways that redefine both faith and identity in a globalized area. Ultimately, this discourse calls for a re-evaluation of civilizational hierarchies by recognizing that true progress lies not in domination, but in respectful coexistence of diverse cultural and religious expressions. Thank you very much.
promoter of the water is life therapy for well-being. Professor Prof Abiodun Akeem, that is established as the another good baby. At this point, want some people to take honors. I have the permission of the Vice Chancellor. The first person that will take the honors is the respected historian, Prof Abiodun Akeem.
Vice Chancellor, the new represented by Deputy Vice Chancellor, Education, Academics and Education. I don't know whether to stand for my testimony before. I think this is for me. I think the day of the living faculty. Well, I will not say that I'm surprised, but I will call to make some comments. Then let me say that I'm highly excited not only to be here, but to have listened and to have witnessed this groundbreaking lecture from the Department of History. Professor Akeem Oladiti, I have to congratulate you and commend you for this groundbreaking lecture. I'm equally happy that I've witnessed history reimagined today. History reimagined today. I equally congratulate you, and I've said in my mind that what we have done today is more than the lecture. Yes, we are all come here to witness intellectual battle. What we have done today is more than a lecture. It is a celebration of knowledge, celebration of culture, and celebration of excellence. And let me borrow the expression of one of the music icons that we have in this country. Summarily, I would say, your face shine, your spirit shine.
Thank you so much, sir. Please permit me to assign the job of comments to the distinguished professor of social, political, and moral philosophy, and the proponent of water is life therapy, Professor Prof Abiodun.
I am not supposed to speak after living ancestor has spoken, but I seek your indulgence, permission to say this. And There's this very good. They said, end of discussion. Some says discussion continue. Well, Prof Akeem Oladiti, this paper is end of discussion. Why I said that, I acknowledge the fact that there is discussion continuing. I want to inform this House that this paper is going to be the lead publication in one of the faculty journals, the Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences. It is the first paper, end of discussion. When it is published, the discussion can continue. If you have anything to say about the publication, you can now continue to say your own. But this, to us, is the end of discussion in the intersection between culture, religion, and modernity. We saw it, pure and simple. History have done this. The next masquerade to dance is coming from the Department of English and Literary Studies. I also know that there are other heavyweights in the faculty. They will dance in quick succession. We have very distinguished, respected professor in the Department of Psychology that will give us the faculty lecture, and another very distinguished professor, the head of theater art in this university, one of our celebrated professors who is standing in between English, literature, and drama. So that's Professor Abiodun Akeem and Professor They will give us lecture. They are so strategically arranged our presentation in such a way that the discussion will always continue. Thank you so much for this presentation.
Sorry, sir. Occupiers of the item. Please permit me to quickly take the last batch of my introduction for this morning. I'm looking at Prof Abiodun Akeem Oladiti. He belongs to Center for the Selected Professor Abiodun Akeem. I've been able to see the former librarian, Dr. Isaac and the ability of life from the professor. Scholars, students, and Dr. Page from Fulham to come and take the last comments. Dr. Page from Fulham. If you are not available, please permit me to recognize the presence of a very eminent professor, Professor Abiodun. We thank you for being part of our staff. Ladies not talking to us. Now, please permit me to inform all of us that next week, Wednesday, we have another lecture. This one is a special one, the number of our lectures, which is the 11th series of Principles of Peace and University. Take place at the program of Equator, and the topic is navigating the future of the university administration, imagination, complexity, and excellence. And it will be delivered by that erudite administrator, former registrar of the University of Dr. Mrs. Abiodun Oladiti. You are all invited Prof Abiodun. Mr. Chairman, Vice Chancellor of LAUTECH, representing Professor Abiodun Akeem. Other members of the branch technically to the end of the section. We welcome to the thanks to be delivered by our spiritual father, Professor Abiodun Akeem.
Greetings and thanks to the Vice Chancellor, ably represented by EDC Strategic and Academic Planning, Professor Abiodun Akeem. Other protocols to be observed. We thank you for your presence. We thank you for your love. And let me especially thank the father of the faculty, Ibu Magadi, his appearance, Sheikh Professor Anthony Akeem for his interest. Thank you for your interest, and this is part of the results of your labor all the while. And our able dean for his drives, academic drives, and activity drive too. Sometimes society, I think, is getting too much wahala for us. It's not using the student bus to drive us, but the tractor and the trailer. But we are getting results, thank God. It appears he wants to make up for the years spent in general studies. This university has come alive with this lecture series. I think you can all agree that. So thank you very much. And professors here present are these, the leader of nanotechnology who has been making efforts to make the academic environment lively, and that group. All these are the provosts here present. Well, the lecturer today from this department has done a great job, and I'm proud of him. You can see that when they say necessity is the mother of invention, you cannot have mother without father. Fathered by experience. That experience is history. I don't know whether you have to say. Necessity is the mother of invention. Science is technology, everything, invention. That is the mother of necessity. But fathered by experience, and that is history. History is the father of all these things. Great historians. Great historians. Sociology, philosophy, all that is there. So thank you very much for your coming. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Perhaps we're looking for one of a kind, the cultural exhibitions around the world, all traveled and places. Stay tuned to my channel, KB Jojo Newsbox, where I intend to give you every vital information, updates, interesting places, places of interest, tourism, and about people, culture around the world. Stay tuned on this channel, we promise to give you more. It's Thank you.
And if the fates should bless us with a moment of reprieve, we all could stand together in the silence and just breathe. Rejoice for all the happiness